Welcome back to Pagitt Radio 121. Conversation here with Aaron Niequist. And Aaron, you're joined here in the studio with our sidekick on the program, John Music.
Hey, Aaron.
All right. Hey.
So we're terribly glad to have you on the program. And I wanted to ask you, for you a year ago or 2 years ago or so, you would hear things about, maybe the situation in Palestine and Israel is more complicated. Maybe it's more personal. Maybe it's more complex than people give it credit for when you hear news headlines and news slants from the juggernauts that are the media in this nation. And that changed you to be able to go there and to be on the ground and to eat meals and to hold hands and to watch the tears in people's eyes changes. And I hear this from everyone who goes. Anywhere in the world that people go where there's some kind of torment or suffering, they're like, you know what? It's a lot more than what you hear about when you're actually there. But I'm wondering, for people like the rest of us who aren't going to have a chance to go to Israel and to Palestine, aren't going to have a chance to meet these folks, what suggestions do you have for us about what we can do about this? Because I think about you, like you're a worship leader at this big church, and the 50 weeks that you've been home, you start to probably feel this real tension between God, what I'm doing just seems kind of petty at times compared to the great work and suffering of this world issue that's going on there. And so you've had to live with that tension and at least have been there before. For the others of us who feel like, God, I want to do something, but my life just doesn't allow me to travel there and do this. What suggestion do you have?
Such a great question.
Well, thank you very much. Can you clip that audio?
Like you've done this before.
Can you clip that? Okay.
Two thoughts. The first one is, what changed me initially was not the trip to Israel.
Uh-huh.
It was the conversation with my mother-in-law.
Oh.
And so the first thing that I would suggest is learning and sharing. Like when Lynn just shared, hey, do you know that such and such is going on? It blew my mind. And so I jumped into some books. The number one book I would recommend, above all else, Blood Brothers by Elias Shakur.
Okay.
Blood Brothers by Elias Shakur. It is just his story as a young Palestinian growing up, and now he's this great man of peace and wonderful guy. The other one, I don't know, have you talked about O Little Town of Bethlehem, the film?
The film, yeah. There was a film that we talked about and that was here in the Twin Cities called O Little Town of Bethlehem, and it chronicles the story of a Christian and a Jew and a Muslim who have all decided in the last year or 18 months or so that they want to work for peace. One who's a member of the Israeli military, somebody else who was in a family told not to hang around with Jewish people, and a Christian guy who felt sort of caught in the struggle of that. And they've all said basically what you have, which is this is a more complex issue, and if we keep dealing with it as a political issue rather than the personal component, we're going to become the pawns of another game. And peace is the only solution in a personal through a personal approach. So that's a film that you can find online called O Little Town of Bethlehem. It's a documentary about their lives. It's quite interesting.
Fascinating stuff. And there's a lot of great stuff out there. The problem is there's just as much straight propaganda.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So if someone says, yeah, I'm going to start listening then, I'm going to start tuning in. I think that, the suffering of the Palestinians could be the apartheid of our day, or it could be it's a civil rights issue. It's a human rights issue. It's not just somebody wants to destroy Israel. There's thousands of people who literally suffer every day.
Yeah.
And something needs to be done about that. And then they listen, and what they hear is, well, if that side would simply do these things, the suffering would stop.
Right. And it's insanity. It's like, again, to bring it back to Washington right now, to hear any sort of sane perspective is like a needle in a haystack. It's just demonizing and either or, and it's craziness.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm sure that somebody who holds to one of those positions on either side would hear someone like us have this conversation, and they would say, well, that's because you hold that other view.
Of course.
So, well, a lot of people tend to be, well, I'm the rational one here, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm the one who's thinking straight. It's the other folks here that aren't thinking straight. And maybe it means spending a little time. Like maybe we need conversations with people that we think are telling the story wrongly in order to be beneficial to us. Maybe that's not a problem, those people. Maybe that's part of the solution. I'm not sure in this case. That tends to be true in other situations, but
Well, I mean, because you're a pro, you just segued into the second thing that I wanted to share. I mean,
and a lot of times we just segue without someone recognizing it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the recognized segue.
The number two thing since I've been home, so overwhelmed, like honestly, pretty depressed when I got back, not knowing how to deal with it. The first thing was I'm going to learn everything I can, and then share little baby steps, like not become a pro just because I read one book.
Yeah, right. Right, you're that guy.
Yeah, right. And but the second thing is I realized I don't have a single Muslim friend. I don't have one. And I used to think I had a real wide range of friends, but a wide range of Christian, white, middle class. I mean, it's insane how narrow my life has become. So, fortunately, I have two Jewish friends that we get together. One in particular, we get together all the time and talk about this, and he sees it pretty differently than me. Yeah. And it's the conversations are very loving but very hard, and he's really helped me. And but this next one, and I'm actually this month pursuing this. I need to have some Muslim friends, and not like Muslim. That's the person I talk to about Islam, but like a friend,
right? Yeah, a true friend,
a community. So that's the other thing: just building friendships, getting out of my little circle. So.
Well, I think that's the way it has to go. If not, because we're not the policymakers, right? I know we live in a representative democracy, so we can elect the people who are going to make some policy change in the United States. I get that. It's just very difficult to know anything about issues that are happening in the world if you don't know someone who's suffering from them. And I've decided that a good rule of thumb for me in dealing with people who differ from me is I don't want to have an opinion about a topic that I don't have a friend who holds an opinion on the other side. Like, I just want to wait to develop my opinion. Sometimes I can't because opinions just befall me, right? They just happen. I can't do anything about it. But I want to wait until I support those or overly identify myself with them until I know someone who thinks differently on that issue than I do. Because if not, I become part of the echo chamber of my own mind, right? Where I'm just trapped in only hearing people that listen to me and everybody else is a problem. And that's why, Aaron, I'm proud of you for what you're doing there, and thank you for being on the show, because if not anything else, it at least raises the issues that say to people, maybe I should be thinking about that. And and I'm not someone, what I like is that you don't have any, this isn't your job, this isn't your organization, this isn't your effort, this is sort of captured you in your spirit and have said, I think this is important. And I think that's part of what's going to happen in the world for some kind of change to happen over there. So, Aaron, thanks so much for being on the show, and thanks for all that you do. Now, folks, we're going to be back here, and we're going to talk a little bit about Minneapolis being named the gayest city in the country, the award-winning gayest city. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what that means in the issues of religion and homosexuality. And then the right on, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, I Have a Dream. I want to throw the right out there to those who are trying to, just improve it a little bit,
tweak it.
So yeah, just a little tweak, just a little update. So if you're okay to stick around, I'd love to chat with you about that. We're going to be back here on AM 950 and DougPagittRadio.com after the break.